So, I watch many near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences over time. And what I am sharing now is just my opinion, just from what I am piecing together from all the different experiences, which are all very, very interesting. And I am pondering the fact that all of these people, all of these souls, are essentially being told that they can't stay in the afterlife, that they have to go back and go back to their bodies or go back to Earth to complete their schooling. I am assuming that those who do pass will be returned back to Earth in a new body, meaning they will be birthed again, whereas those who have the near-death experience get to return to their body if it is salvageable. But either way, the souls will return to Earth to complete their assignment. And the assignment is the growth and maturation of the soul in ascension school. And by ascension is meant that consciousness needs to expand and mature and elevate from the basic two-dimensional and three-dimensional duality mindset that lives in a reality of friends and foes, family and enemies, the contrast. And before we can leave this dimension of contrast, our soul has to be able to perceive and imagine and consciously experience a dimension where this conflict can no longer happen. In other words, we have to create, quote unquote, create the next dimension. We have to pass the test in order to pass into the next dimension, a higher dimension. We have to first become those frequencies so that we are a match for a higher dimension. I was watching one near-death experience last night, and in this near-death experience, the soul moved through the dark universe towards that pinprick of light in the distance. And as she moved closer and closer to the light turned into a window. In other words, it turned into a portal. And as she came up to the window, there was, of course, the glass pane. But she could look through it into another world, a golden world, very much like the one we are in, but everything had a golden hue to it. And the energy felt a lot different. And then her guide told her that she can't go through into that dimension yet. She had to finish her schooling on Earth. So you see, we do not get the complete picture from near-death experiencers. They get a glimpse. They get a glimpse of the next dimension that is available to them. And it's a bit like the fourth dimension. Definitely better than Earth. But it has to be elevated. We have to be elevated in our mind and in our consciousness and in our frequency to experience a golden dimension, to experience a peaceful, loving dimension. We have to become that. Our soul has to consciously become that, and in that way earns, if I shall use that word, earns the entrance into heaven. And heaven isn't one place. Heaven is just a term for the higher dimensions. And our soul is going to continue to evolve and elevate through higher dimensions. So, this kind of blows out of the water the idea that when we die, we go to heaven. No, when we die, we get assigned a new body and come back to the appropriate dimension that our soul consciousness level is at. And I'm not trying to take anybody's hope away. I'm just actually trying to make sense so that we can all understand how this, shall I call it a game, how this experience works. You know, vibrations and frequencies are an immutable law, and they cannot be manipulated. Just like, for instance, we're here in 3D, our 5 senses are attuned to a frequency spectrum that does not allow us to see the invisible world, which is just at another level of vibration. We are locked into a bandwidth that can only see and experience this physical reality in the way we do with the 5 senses. When we raise in frequency, bodily, mentally, psychologically, and spiritually, we can then see other worlds. But it's because our bandwidth, our frequency spectrum changes over time. Our DNA changes, and that opens up access to other places. I hope this makes sense. This is how it makes sense to me. And this is how eternal life works. We're forever evolving, eternally evolving into different dimensions.